All right, we are in. We are in.
Hi
Why just
everyone.
yeah, you're just really smiling like you're someone has a gun to your head. Please relax.
Okay,
Hi
I don't know.
everyone.
That's not
Hi.
no, that is so inappropriate. Number one, I'm smiling because the joy of the Lord is here, and the sugar from the orange Fanta is doing my brain. And the Z,
The Z.
that's it.
Oh, okay. Uh well everyone, it's Ghana Independence Day. That's right.
Rap rap.
Ghana
Woo!
4. Ghana 4. Hmm. Hmm. You were crumb.
I don't understand what's being said. But happy Independence Day to my favorite Ghanaians who are not on this call, but they know who they are. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
This
I'm kidding.
is what is this? What's going on? This is not the day to be doing Ghanaian people slander. We
I
choose
wasn't doing
peace.
slander.
The defamation against the two of us and our character is quite unfounded. Um, yes. Anyways, guys, if you're listening, welcome to the Second Nature podcast. This is episode 37. You're probably thinking, wow, what have I walked into? Is this like some Zoom call that they forgot to edit out? Nope. Nope. This is just sometimes how we start before we actually press recording. But we press that record button from now to see the wickedness of ARAMIDE. And while me and Anna just have to try and keep the peace because
I'll let you guys have it today. I'll just let go because today's your Independence Day. But when it gets to September, or whatever Nigerians one is, I won't be doing anything different because I don't celebrate that day.
you don't know your own country's Independence Day.
Are we independent yet?
Oh, so terrible.
Watch this space. Wait and see. When it's worth celebrating, I'll celebrate it.
Yeah. I mean, we still don't know if your president is
Mm.
alive. So
Oh my god. Let's move on swiftly and
uh,
discuss the matter at hand.
before that, a few housekeeping rules. Yeah, follow us, guys, on Instagram and Twitter. Second Nature Pod, Second Nature underscore Pod. One of them ones, I believe that's Instagram. Uh, Also, subscribe to us on YouTube. We're trying to get to 100 subscribers, road to 100. I'm starting that campaign right now. We're currently on something like 60 something. And the math's not mathing because the amount of people that listen to us it doesn't make sense. So if you're listening right now, I'm going to take a pause. I'm going to tell you to go to our YouTube channel and subscribe.
Tell us the name of the YouTube channel again, JIREH.
Second Nature Podcast.
And that's it.
Yeah, so that was that time of silence. It wasn't enough, but you should get the gist now, I hope. uh Follow us on New Nature Clo as well. And if you don't hear any of this because you skipped past this, then that's quite unfortunate, but we rise. Anyways, that was such a chaotic start to the pod. But
I like it.
not everything has to go to plan. Not everything has to be perfect, and in all of that, what we need and what the people who are listening need is patience. See what I did there?
Oh, so all of the unnecessary angst and frustration that you created was to make a point. I see it.
No, that was actually by accident. But God. I was going to say God works in mysterious ways. No, He doesn't. God works in His usual ways. We just need to recognize it. Yeah, so we're talking about patience.
Mm. Mm.
You're probably thinking, oh, patience, that's such a broad topic. Isn't that a bit boring? But a lot of us need it. A lot of us are impatient. We live in a generation where we want things now, very quickly. Yesterday, I was having a conversation with my fiance and her sister, and they refuse to get next day delivery. They'll happily wait for a package up to 5 days. And I said, that's not acceptable. Come on.
I
Five.
waited 2 weeks once for a package
Yeah,
because it was coming from Spain. And I like that though, because when it's free and you get it, it feels like you've almost worked hard for it. because you've waited for it.
Huh? What? No, so if you had the option to pay for it to come quicker than it does, would you not take that option?
Nope. If I have to pay for it, absolutely not.
Nah.
This is interesting. Well, I have Amazon Prime, so I pay for my Amazon Prime. And Aramide, you're shaking your head, but are you not the person that uses my Amazon Prime as well?
I only do for emergency purposes. And also because, like, let's say for instance, I want to purchase some wire cutters because I recently bought wire cutters. But the wire cutters cost like £8 and I need to spend around £30 or £20 for free delivery. I enjoy doing that when it comes to clothes. I'd even spend £50 if the only item I want cost a tenner just to get that free delivery and return it. But I'm not familiar with how to return large packages from Amazon. So it was easier for me to then go to someone to use their Amazon Prime, not because it comes the following day, but because I just don't want to spend excess amounts on Amazon to give Jeff Bezos more money when I could just borrow someone else's.
Yeah, because you're not spending that extra £22 is the reason why Jeff Bezos is not going to be rich.
Exactly. But you would be happy to know that I did spend 49 pence on 7 days of Amazon Prime. And let me tell you, I made full use of that. Just ordering things that I need, but without having to reach that £20-30 limit for free delivery.
Okay, well, yeah. So why do we think that Christians, in generally the new people our age, Christians our age, aren't very patient? Right, everyone's really silent. What's going on?
I mean, lack of patience is indicative. That's the word. I've wanted to use that word for a long time. It's indicative of the world that we live in. When, like you said, we can order something off Amazon and get it on the same day. When we have Uber, so we don't have to wait for the buses anymore. When you can order takeaway instead of waiting for God knows how long it takes for food to cook sometimes. We have all these things when we have the internet, so you don't have to go to a library, to research anything. You can just type it into Google. We live in a world where everything is instantaneous. You want it, you get it instantly. You don't have to wait for anyone to give it to you. You don't have to wait for the potatoes to grow in your garden before you can eat it. You can just go to the supermarket. And when you have all of these things around us that make our lives way more convenient, it's easy to have the attitudes toward God where you're like, I prayed for this, so by tomorrow it should be there. And when you're a Christian and you actually have to wait, not even when it comes to waiting on God for something, even when it's reading your Bible, having to sit down and not just scroll through like your timeline and sit down and really chew on something and meditate on it and really take it in. That's something that a lot of us really struggle with because it's just not fitting in the world that we live in. Dizzy.
Yeah, Anna.
Very true. I'll say probably because like this world, how I think how the world has evolved is to make our lives easier and to make us lazier. Like just finding like new inventions are mostly based on how we can do things faster or or the laziest way possible to do something. Like I've seen the dumbest inventions and it's just like, oh, come on, like come on.
Which
Like
ones?
stuff like, like the electric can opener, the ones where you put it in and it opens it for you. I'm just like, why? why? Or like ones where like it slices like fruit for you, but it's like electric. I'm just like, come on, guys, we can do better. But yeah, like that's just how the world has evolved to just making us lazy. So that's why we're impatient, because we used to have a thing. I think who is it? I think Mike calls us the microwave generation because we want
Mike?
things like instant. Mike Omni.
Yes, that is true. He
Which
does call us
Mike?
that. Mike, MT.
Sorry, MT, Omani, yeah, because that's the microwave generation. Because we like instant stuff, like instant food, instant gratification, instant money, instant likes, everything instant, nothing waiting for, nothing to yeah. So okay, this is an anime reference, yeah, but there's an anime called Dr. Stone, and I always wonder how life would be if all of a sudden we woke up and we were back in the Stone Age, because a lot of us would die.
I would die. I'll say it now. I would die.
A lot of us would die. Because like we just know nothing about, like, I don't know, as you said, waiting on fruit to grow, or like just the small things in life that you don't appreciate unless you live in the countryside or whatever. It's just, yeah, it's just very interesting.
What do you think it does to our walk with Christ, that kind of ecosystem that we live in? Because obviously the saints back in the day, they didn't have everything instant, so they had time to ponder upon the scriptures while they were growing their fruit and potatoes, and they were able to dissect the word while they were waiting for their clothes to be knitted and their cows to grow so they can slaughter them. What do you think that does with our walk?
I think it makes the Bible less relatable, and it detaches us from the contents of the Bible even further. You see, the Bible is very, very centered kind of New Testament one piece to people. Yeah, as I said, there's a lot of agricultural references in the Bible, like understand or get if you didn't grow up in those kind of areas. So I guess in that sense, people have a closer have lives that are closer to I feel like they can understand some parts of the Bible with a deeper meaning than we can. So they understand when the Bible says something like, you're a tree planted by, like, they understand agriculture. They understand what it means to be a tree planted by the water, and how far the roots grow. They understand like sowing a seed and waiting for harvest, because they have to do these things. And if you miss a harvest, or if harvest goes wrong, is how much you can suffer. And so I think, yeah, as I said, it makes the Bible less relatable. So it can be hard to relate to God in that sense, but the Bible traverses generations and it traverses all contexts and whatever. So you can always find a way to draw out what you should be getting from it. We just need to look at it in the right lens, as we always say on this podcast. That from when you're looking at the lens of the Bible, I guess, is what I'd say.
Well, that's really good.
That was good. Your internet was going a bit, but yes, I did get what you were saying. I don't know.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's all right. It's kind of Independence Day. We don't sweat too much. We don't wear it too much.
You guys are very different from me.
Yeah, I don't know. For me, definitely for our generation, it kind of trains us not to have the kind of what's the word that I'm trying to
Stamina?
Patience. Yes, stamina, endurance, because patience is a fruit of the spirit, and it's like obviously the fruit itself has different aspects to it, but in this generation it's almost like, because everything's instant, that is just ignored, or we believe patience is waiting when it's not the same thing. Patience would require you, because for instance, Noah in the Bible was patient, even when obviously God said he's going to flood this earth. He's going to put water all over this, drown everybody, dead it all, so restart it. and he told him to build the ark. But for years on end, people said, "Is he really coming? Is he really coming?" And obviously, we don't read anything in the scripture where Noah said that, where Noah's said to be complaining. He just continued on doing with his work because he knew that God was true to his word, and he was going to do what he was going to do. Um, a better kind of analogy is like when your mom leaves the house and she says she's going to come back. Now you can either just sit there and then keep looking at your watch thinking, when is she coming back? Is she coming back? When is she coming back? Or you can continue on doing what you're doing in the house, knowing that your mom comes back. And even if it takes, I don't know, hours, maybe a day, you don't worry because you believe that your mom will come back. People believe that in their patience, that are sometimes not meant to do anything at all and just continue thinking about that one thing, not living the rest of their lives as they need to. Um, but obviously, right now in society, there's just like lots of different scenarios that make you impatient. So for me, when I'm behind the wheel and I'm driving, as Aramide can attest to that, I'm not the most patient person. Um, Mainly because there's a lot of
People on the Manchester roads don't seem to know how to drive sometimes. I mean, I'm not really trying to
They're
throw shade. I
very,
can't
very
drive.
crazy.
Oh, okay,
They're very
good. It's not just
crazy.
me.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, yeah.
yeah, they do a
No
lot of
looking left, no looking right. Just zoom.
Just
yeah,
vibes.
not
No
just
safety, just vibes.
not just the cars, the people that walk on the road thinking that the road belongs to them. And that's just like one scenario. And for instance, with another car, like it swerves into your lane, instead of displaying the patience, you're all of a sudden finding yourself getting agitated and annoyed, which obviously, for me, it's not really something that we as Christians should be displaying. Um, and normally, when you don't get your way, that's when your character kind of comes out. And for a lot of us, when we're not patient, especially like how many times on Twitter, for instance, do we see discourses going on where people aren't patient with their replies or their responses, and they've opted for the name calling or the throwing of shade or whatever you want to name it, group mentality, rather than being patient with it. And that's to other Christians. Never mind unbelievers or anyone like that. That's to their own, to the whole, to the own Christian body. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, what do you have to say about that?
I wasn't gonna say that even manifests when sometimes you hear a little
Manifest is
bit
the
of a
word of the year.
story. Manifest it. Let me manifest. But when people don't hear the full story about something, where, for example, someone will probably tweet something, maybe an allegation about another person, and everyone has an opinion. Everyone's thought about all the possible scenarios, what could have happened, who went where, what was said, when actually the full details haven't come out. So lack of patience can manifest in other ways than just, like, I guess the ways that we imagine it, because some people will be like, oh, I'm patient because I don't rush everything in my everyday life. But that thing that you've been praying about and it's seriously starting to get you down, you have to think, the people in the Bible sometimes waited decades before they got an answer to their prayers. And there's even a part in the Bible where it talks about how some people, oh, I wish I knew what part, but it talks about how some people who were praying for certain blessings, or um we're praying for certain things that they won't see, but we are reaping the benefits of. And it lists like all of the saints, like, this person was praying for this, but they never even saw the fruition of it,
I
yet
believe
we
it's
are now
Hebrew.
reaping. I think it's also in Hebrews as well, and it lists it as well. So patience isn't just something for the now, it's something that even goes beyond ourselves and into our future. And I think in this, like you said, microwave generation, we actually have microwaves now. Like back in the days, people didn't have microwaves. If you wanted something, you had to heat it on the pot. And if you're
With a
living in a,
fire, with a
yeah,
fire, that's the ghetto. What is that?
imagine, can you no, no, no. Like imagine, I remember when the whole thing, yes, with Americans and kettles, when it came out that a lot of them don't have kettles at home, and that whole process of having to heat up water in the stovetop, or worse, using a microwave to heat up water, it seems so foreign to us because
But
we're
that's
like,
what Americans do.
you
Yeah,
need a kettle.
is that what you said?
Sorry?
Is that what you said? That's what Americans do.
Or typically, the way the voltages works, it makes it hard for them to use appliances like, well, not hard for them, but like kettles and appliances like that don't really work properly anyway, depending on where you're living. So to us, it's so easy just to turn on the kettle and get hot water in 3 minutes, but in other areas of the world, they really have to actually wait there. So there's also like a certain lens of privilege that we as Christians have that our forefathers, you know, never ever had. And so it made it easier for them to wait because their lifestyle was conducive to always waiting for something to happen.
Do you think it's made us soft?
Yes, absolutely. I won't last a minute in the Serengeti, but them under, they could.
How about your patience in regards to like other people? Because whenever I think about patience, I always think, would you be patient with people who are of a higher social status than you? In regard, and then compare that to being patient to someone who's not below you, but you know, can't really offer you anything. Maybe sometimes like a child, or if you're for instance a supervisor and your worker below you is testing your patience. Like how does that work? Are you okay?
No, because I think that toes the line between being patient with someone and being kind to someone, because sometimes when you want to lose your patience towards an individual, so if let's say you're waiting on God for something, that's between you and God. But if let's say you're working with someone, if you've been impatient with them, it can easily turn to you either bullying them or not being kind to them or not giving them the space that they need to work well, and it can make certain environments really toxic to be in. So I think when you talk about being patient towards other people, you also have to think about kindness. You also have to think about, you know, thinking about their feelings, you know, what their day has been like, because I'm not a very patient person. I mean, I'm very patient with my plants. I look after them and they've taken years to grow, and I'm like, you know what, that's good. Or like with stuff like hair, you can slap on as much grease as you want, but your hair's still gonna take the same amount of time to grow. But when you're working with other people, I expect a lot from people. I dislike incompetence. So when someone is being incompetent, it takes God is really working with me, in me with this in this, where I have to really 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 be mindful of how I speak, my body language, making sure that I tell people that they're doing well when they're doing well, so that when I do give them my criticisms, it doesn't come across as I'm always just criticizing. So it's something I have to be really mindful of, because being impatient with another person, it doesn't come across as impatience, it comes across as like being rude. Dizzy. Yeah.
What about you, Anna?
Well, I think I've been told that I'm quite patient, which I find, I guess it's surprising, but I guess that's what happens when you grow up with three brothers. But yeah, so I've worked with kids a lot, especially like primary school, secondary school kids can be the worst sometimes, you know, like year 7 to year 9, absolute monsters. But but I think working with people like that, especially in your free time, like over the summer, where like, you know, you should be enjoying, but you're working and you're working with like these people, I think you learn to be patient. And when I was in secondary school, so from year 10, I would co-lead like junior gospel choir. So junior was like from year 7 to year 9 with another girl, and then she left 2 years after, so she left me to do it by myself. And a new cohort of like year 7s came, and they were just naughty. And there was this one form class that was the naughtiest form class, and most of them ended up in my choir. So it was literally a nightmare, but I just like had to endure and be patient, because otherwise I'd kill someone. And I was doing this in my free time.
Second nature does not endorse the words of Anna Asayama saying that
Oh
she
my
will kill
God.
someone, though she is from
No,
London,
I mean,
and that's the kind of that's the kind of vibes that they do down there.
And I will say that I'm from Kent, which is different from London because people like to say with us and we're not. And so, yeah, I'm not part of whatever gang this is.
I mean, no young persons were hurt in the production of the music. Disclaimer. But yeah, so but we had to be patient, and eventually, like, they became like their behavior changed, and they became like very, very nice young ladies. And the head teacher was even impressed. Like, the head teacher like called me to the office and was like, I don't know what you did with these kids, but like, and I was just like, I just endured, you know, like it's been a long journey, but we got here, okay. But yeah, so I think doing that from like obviously secondary school age has helped me with my patience a lot. So now I just tend to be patient, and I think that's why people say I'm a good listener, because I can just sit there and listen to people and they're like, wow, you're a good listener, you're really just here. I'm like, yeah, I'm here. But yeah, but I'm still learning. I think there are still things that tick me off, especially when it comes to my pet peeves. Like, I'm still learning patience when it comes to my pet peeves. However,
What are your pet peeves?
Yeah, I was gonna say, tell us.
Oh, okay.
So we can do it. Kidding.
They're you know what, they're actually all like very random, but like I really don't like when people ask me stupid questions, like especially if it's something that I've touched upon, like if I've like explained something.
And I was gonna say, normally people say there's no stupid question.
Because normally there's no such thing as stupid question. But
before she wants to kill someone, now she's telling us stupid questions.
No, it's when I've explained something, or I've written in a message, I've written something, and then someone asks me a question that I've just literally the answers in the paragraph. You just like, no, I wouldn't repeat myself.
No, just say read above, or as previously stated, read above, or forward like, as an attachment.
I actually took the time to like explain it to you in depth, and you're asking me something I've just explained.
Now, would you do that?
Like, I understand if I didn't explain it properly.
Would you do that if that was like you're a CEO or a boss? You probably wouldn't.
No. Because it's more at stake.
You know what it is? I feel like I have more patience when it comes to people that are quote unquote under me than above me for some reason. I think I expect more of people above me, so I have less patience for them.
I get that, you know.
I don't.
I have siblings that are very, very young. Well, compared to me anyway, there's like a 10-year difference between me and my little brother and sister.
Oh, what, you're in your 30s?
This ends today. This ends today. This ends today. My patience has wore thin. I've had it to here. I am 24. That's right. I am essentially 20 years old with VAT. But my siblings are 11 and 13. And with them, I'm definitely a lot more patient with them, because I understand their reality a bit, but not to the extent like their age mates would. So every time I speak to them, I have to be mindful that actually I have to speak to them like adults, but also be patient with them and give them that space to open up, because kids will just go and be doing whatever and be talking to their friends and thinking that their friends know things their friends don't. But that's because they're younger than me. But when I'm working with people my age mates, I expect a certain level of competency. I expect a lot. But if it's someone above me, I don't want to see any flaws, none at all. I want everything to be spick and span. And that's just the way that my mind works. But you also have to understand that no one is perfect. And I hate that, but no one is perfect, even the people above, because everyone's prone to making mistakes. Everyone's prone to falling. And I think it's just being mindful that everyone's on a journey, and that makes it easier to be patient with people.
Yeah, because obviously patience doesn't just happen overnight. And for me, who am I patient with? Am I patient with people underneath me? I don't know. I even if people are above me or underneath me, I just see them all on like the same level. So I just try to, especially curtail what I say, so that everyone just gets the same sort of treatment. because I find that if you're not patient with the people below you, that will definitely spill over to the people above you, and they will be like, "Oh, where's this coming from? You got a problem, tough guy? Huh? What you trying to get into?" And then you've got a problem there. So you kind of want to. What I always remember is have one heart in all situations, even when, like Aramide said, it's your siblings, or even if it's people above you. But you have to make room for people to make mistakes.
Everybody makes mistakes.
Yeah,
Everybody
everybody
has
has
that
those
day.
days.
Eh,
Everybody has those. What?
eh, eh, eh.
That is not a gospel song. We don't endorse that. We don't
Yesterday.
endorse Miley Cyrus or Hannah Montana on this podcast. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Uh, and I always think about like Hebrews 12:1, which is, therefore, since we are also surrounded with so great a cloud of witnesses, let us lay aside every weight and sin which easily besets us, and let us run with patience the race that is set before us. um I'm reminded that, like, when you see people, when someone violates you, because everyone's being violated, and people are watching your movement thinking, right, what's this, what are they going to do here? Surely they must like blow their lid off, or surely they must retaliate, or be vengeful, or be agitated. And then you don't choose that option, you choose the high road instead, or you're patient instead. They're thinking, hmm, where's this coming from? This is not what I this is not what we see people do when people get violated. Not I'm not saying that Christianity is a doormat. When you need to stand, you stand and fight and use the sword. The kingdom of heaven suffered violence, and the
Mm.
violence take it by
Violent
force.
Christians love using that passage. I'm like, that's not the context. But honestly, when people egg you on to I guess choose violence, if that's how we want to phrase
I
it.
don't want peace. I want
I want
war.
problems
I want
Always.
problems.
Usually those people that encourage you, egg you on, aren't doing so because they care, but more for their own entertainment. I think a lot of people like drama. That's why drama channels, reality TV shows
Like
will never
Bridgerton.
lose money. I've not watched that show.
That's good. You're a saint. Don't watch that. Anyone
Oh
that's
my.
listening to that, don't listen to.
neither
Don't
neither
watch
have
that.
I.
Oh, that's good. You're a saint.
Jerry's like, if you watched it, yeah, and ain't. You're not a saint. Um,
I
but
burn for you.
okay, Jerry, relax. Um, um, usually when
Oh,
this, yeah,
okay.
but when people like tell you to, yeah, retaliate, fight back,
Right, I wouldn't have that. What, you gonna
yeah,
let her talk to you like that,
personally that's
mad?
a violation, or really, wow, like what you said. So usually it's just to kind of see drama
I
and
can't
be
lie, that's
entertained.
me.
Oh my god.
No, but as a joke, like
On
I'd be like,
Ghana's
if I was
Independence
you,
Day,
personally, I wouldn't have that.
yeah, people lost stirring the pot and
But it's
causing
always a joke.
discord. I know it is because sometimes I say it myself, but usually like it's just to make that situation more entertaining. But as a Christian, if let's say you retaliate, you're gonna have to spend that time in prayer asking for forgiveness anyway for what you've done, because you know that your
And
actions weren't
that's on
fueled.
Bible.
That's a prayer request.
That's on Mary had a little lamb, like Kalechi said in the last episode. Period.
That's on the Holy Bible
That
NIV.
song, that song.
NIV Bible.
um I love this. Um, but I even like when you take the high road, I can't even lie, the high road isn't that fun. And it requires discipline. It requires you to, because sometimes when you do feel violated, like me, I just cry because that's the only way I know to express that emotion. But like you feel like you've been walked all over sometimes, you just want to retaliate, and you're like, do you know who I am? Do you know who I am? Who do you think you are?
You know who
Effing
you're
and
dealing
Jeffy.
with.
Well, was that Jeff was that what that man was like? If I show you. Um, but yeah, and I think that requires a lot of discipline, and also for you to be okay with it after, because there'll be sometimes I'll be replaying arguments from 4 years ago saying, if only I said this, if only I said that, but really practicing the act of actually letting it go and let God. And I know that's like an
Mm,
old Thai cliche, but
what?
sometimes like being patient isn't glamorous, being patient isn't flashy, being patient won't give you the retweets that you want. but virtue, there's beauty in virtue, there's beauty in abstinence, there's beauty in being patient, there's beauty in so many things of God, and we have to start seeing it as something that's more valuable than that instant gratification when you, I don't know, swear at someone or you tell them something horrible about themselves in a retweet.
Yeah, it reminds me of a character in Star Trek Discovery, called Philippa Georgiou. She was the captain of the USS Discovery, but she's from the Terran world alternative universe. Anyways, since I've gone deep dive into Star Trek, in her in the opposite world,
So
she's
nerding
really
out.
she she's really evil, but she gets dragged into our universe, and what happens is she goes through like a character growth, and from being really ruthless, not showing anyone any sort of mercy or remorse, she shows real kind of patience, and it's really surprising because obviously I think a quote that she said in there, that she said something along the lines of that patience comes from a position of power, um, because you have the ability to take revenge. You can cause trouble, but patience is, being self-restraint and carefully thinking. Losing your patience is actually a sign of weakness. And if we as Christians continue to walk in this light where we know that patience is actually a sign of strength, because people believe if you're patient, you're either trying to avoid trouble, you're letting people walk all over you, you don't want to get into any sort of fuss. But if you're hot headed, if you say, "Oh, I don't take this and that for anything," a period, you can't do anything you can't chat to me. Well, your chat's a bit spicy.
Eh?
Yeah, they believe that that's a sign of strength when that is actually a sign of weakness.
It's embarrassing.
It
It's
is
really
embarrassing, but
embarrassing.
embarrassed,
It's really
embarrassing.
embarrassing.
But that's what
It's
we
so
see.
embarrassing.
But that's what we see on like social media and even amongst ourselves. Like, how many times can you be not in our church, but in the church in general, and you seeing, I don't know, people either in higher positions losing their patience with people below them, and you're thinking, are we not like all brothers and sisters in Christ? Can we not be, i.e., humble, take care for one another, display the fruit of the spirit to one another, rather than, you know, bite down people's necks. The moment they do something wrong, you're like, whoa, 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 what are you doing? What are you doing? And even then, that agitates people. Like, it doesn't solve the situation. Um, and when you are patient, like I said before, people don't even really expect that anymore in this
No.
generation. It's not something people expect. When you're patient, they're thinking, "What's wrong with you? Are you okay?" And people even think in their head, "Nah, they're gonna do something to me later." That's which is so crazy to think
Revenge
about.
plot.
Wait,
Yeah,
what?
if you do something to someone and the person doesn't retaliate, someone is definitely thinking they're going to do something to me later. What is it going to be? Because that is just the
That's
generation that
living
we
in
live in.
fear now. Yeah.
And this is what
Because
impatience like breeds. And the devil must be sat on his tiny little chair while God is sat on his throne. The devil is sat on his tiny little chair,
His stool.
his little stool.
the
You know,
footstool.
you know that them white footstools that you use to stand upon to open the
Or
cupboards.
them
Yeah,
small wooden ones that only have like three legs that
yeah,
go
yeah,
out like
yeah.
that. Yeah.
And he's sat on his tiny footstool, thinking, if I can just get more people to be impatient, not trust and wait, be willing to work and wait and love their brothers and sisters in Christ, I've won. I mean, he's already done it in so many other fronts, but
And I was even gonna say, when you give your example about like someone, especially a leader in the church, who's not patient with the people around them, you actually have to go further to that to say like parents and children. How, I don't know how many of you had the experience of you doing like 2 plus 2 with your mum or with your dad, and you now start crying and you're like 2 plus 2 is 8, and they're like, eight, and there's just that like massive freak out. And a lot of people, they're not like patient with the people, like for example with their children, and then their children then grow up and they're not patient with anyone else, and it's not something you can compartmentalize to just your work colleagues or to church. it's something that we actually have to exercise and express in every area of our life for it to actually mean something and for it to stick. But I've just seen too many kind of like lack of patience with animals. Maybe because
Mm.
I'm a vegan, but like with animals, they don't understand your words. They don't speak English. Um,
Oh my
or with
gosh,
like
are we
little
doing this?
children.
Are we
Yeah.
doing this? Oh,
All I'm
okay.
saying is if we call ourselves children of God, we're supposed to shine the light that is within us in every area of our lives, not just when other people are watching or when it's dealing with superiors and people with we respect.
Mm. That's
That's a
some
word.
that's a word right there. Yeah, but the things you do when no one is watching, that's who you really are. So even when you're at home and your mom, if you still live at home, by the way, if your mom is calling you to do something or your dad is calling you to do something, you're like, again, what's it now? That's an area where you can, learn to be patient, and people ask God in prayer to be more patient. Then they step out of their house, and there are several scenarios where they can actually be patient, and they just ignore all of it. And like we said, patient doesn't. You don't just wake up and like, oh, I'm patient. I'm
Sometimes
patient
I
now.
wake up beefing and I'm like, why am I so angry in the morning?
Hungry in the spirit, saying I'm ready to
Yeah,
fight.
in
You want to fight? You
it.
want to tussle? Mm, 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 mm. Yeah. So there's going to be like if you're listening to this right now, there's going to be scenarios where you will require to be patient, and there's going to be several scenarios. If you pray to be patient, trust me, there will be things that will come your way that you can't avoid,
Yeah,
and you're going to need to display patience. But luckily, we have the Holy Spirit within us who can give us that energy, give us that fight to
Yeah.
be patient to begin with, because we don't have to do it from our own strength. That's the beauty of Jesus dying on the cross, when he said that
Mm.
he needs to go away so that the Holy Spirit, our helper, our comforter, can come. And that's a word, that's Bible, you know what I'm
and that's
That's
when
so
Mary had a little lamb. I love that.
saying?
Um, and even like as are we in the 21st century, right? Yeah, I'm just gonna say we are.
yeah,
Oh my
we are.
goodness. As 21st century Christians, um, the circumstances that perhaps our parents or our elders would have had when it comes to being patient are very different to how we would have had it. For some people, they would have never left their parents' house until they got married. But for a lot of us, we've gone to uni, we've lived the lives we wanted to live by ourselves. And for some people, going back home is like the biggest nightmare because now you have to be held accountable. And that requires you to exercise certain skills that you would have, I guess, moved away from. So for some people, that's
Mhm.
literally like they're fighting the air in the bedroom when their parents call them. Because I know I used to do that when I was a teenager. And when we'll call me, I'll just like be kicking out in my bedroom. I'm like, yeah, I'm coming. And in my mind, I was like, oh, that's just me being patient because by me being here and just not running away and staying in this situation, that's being patient. But actually, it's a mindset and it's thinking, okay, what is God trying to build in this time whilst I'm here? Or even if like you pray you're waiting on God for something, you can be praying for patience, but that one prayer point that you had, God could be using that to build your patience, because how long can you stay in that place of waiting, actively waiting, not passively, actively waiting, whilst actually trusting that God will bring this to fruition, even if it's taking a long time. That's a way of building endurance and building patience. So I know that I'm definitely in that season when I'm like, God, when is this gonna happen? And then nothing is happening. And I was like, I could just run away. I could, I don't know, do voodoo and try and find and why did I use that as an example? I, I could do something to try and
Voodoo, you're a child of the light, and you're talking about voodoo, that
that
magic.
juju. But but you can find like different ways to, I guess, get what you want in this world, right? But if you're a Christian and you're waiting on God, you actually have to wait. You have to be patient. You have to persist in prayer, remain hopeful whilst that thing isn't right there yet, which I believe I'm actually describing faith, what faith is. So I think everyone will have their own situation and how they can be patient. I don't think there's anyone who will be listening. It was like, there's no area of my life that requires absolutely no patience. There
Yeah.
is.
Yeah, most definitely. Most definitely. What would you say? Because I guess it's the last thing. When you see all your friends get married or get a dream job or move out, um, because obviously that's what we see the most right now, especially in the pandemic. Lots of people have lost their lost their jobs, and last year it felt like it was the year of engagement. Um, people said
People weren't wasting time.
people said it's the end of the world. I gotta put a ring on it. That was not my reason for getting engaged. Not my reason
That
at all.
transfer window was about to close. I see people didn't realize that there was gonna come another day after that day, but it was beautiful to see. Personally, I think mine is less so marriage, because there's no one I really want to marry, so it's not hard to be single
Not
nor
even
patient.
the
Who?
Ghanaian brother Hedy.
Oh my God, you need to cut this out. Um, it is hot. Oh my God, my head is hot.
What was that? What was that, Dre? Could you
Oh, it's
name,
getting hot. It's getting
address,
hot. It's getting hot.
email?
It's getting hot. It's getting hot. Head, I'm moving swiftly. Moving on swiftly. Getting a house. I'd like to get a house. I'm handing it over to Anna.
Wow, you're really flustered. I can't believe it.
What was the question?
So obviously we're in a time where we're seeing people like what would you say or help or what would you say to help people who are seeing all their friends like get married, get dream jobs or move out, especially during this time where it seems like everybody's doing that?
Mm, just do you.
Just do
Slay
you.
in your lane.
That doesn't bang,
Really? Yeah, just do you. Slay in your own lane. I haven't finished. Let me land. The flight is going up. Let me come down. But, but what I'm trying to say is like don't stop running and looking at other people's lanes and races. That's not your race. That's not your business. And obviously because something's so virtual this year, it's literally you looking at other people's lives on screens, more so than usual. But we have to rein ourselves in. We have to bring it all back and just remember that this is real life, and you don't always see people's real lives on the screen. But you just do you with the Lord, you know, and run your race with Him as fast as you can. Me and JIREH, and always say this, and just run your race. You know, do work on the things that you know that God's called you to work with, and everything else falls in place. Like when the Bible says seek ye first the kingdom, it ain't lying. If you seek first the kingdom, literally everything else falls in place. And one day you open your eyes and you're like, how we get here? 3 months ago, I had nothing. Now I got a job, pays more than the last one. I got this, I got that. You'll just be like, God, you funny. You very funny. But yeah, so yeah, I'll just say, just keep running your race, keep being faithful, because God's always faithful. It reminds me of Romans, is it 10:20 1 or something? It says, hold on unswervingly to your faith that you have professed, because he who has done it is faithful. So like just hold on unswervingly to God, because He's faithful and He won't let you down.
Yes, that is the scripture indeed. That's word. Well, any final remarks to help people be more patient, or that we can do to be more patient? Grace, I'll say. Extend a lot of grace to people around. If you find yourself being annoyed by a lot of people, the grace, the unmerited grace that God has given us, which is the beauty in our salvation. Extend that same grace to others around you. People can shock you, they can surprise you in a bad way, but they can also shock you and surprise you in a very good way. Always have that. Give people the benefit of the doubt.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's what I would say.
Yeah.
That's what I'd say too. Give people the benefit of the doubt. Be patient with yourself as well. Understand that this is a process. Literally, being patient takes time. And in that process of it taking time and you persevering, is how you become more patient.
Also requires patience.
Yeah, patience requires patience. Um, and so it's just something to be mindful of. And if you find yourself being like overly critical, or I guess being negative, try to, especially towards another person, try to think of something positive to say. And you'll realize that actually takes patience to sometimes come up with something. If, let's say, your mindset is to not be patient and to be quite harsh, or to just say things without really thinking, really taking that time to think can really calm you down and kind of show you that you're being impatient in that time or in that situation.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I guess we'll end it here. Um, we've still got our Saturday evenings. Gotta start preparing for June 21st.
I am gonna be leaving this country by God's grace, getting on that flight. I'm gonna clap when it lands and when it takes off.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
I'm gonna. Oh wow, yeah.
Sensing, gosh, I'm crying already.
I'm gonna take so many pictures on my window seat. I'm just looking forward to it.
I'm looking forward to the day where the pilot is saying we are now entering Kumasi airspace. I'll say yeah, yeah, yeah. But yeah, we'll end it there, guys. Once again, happy Ghana Independence Day to all our Ghanaian listeners out there. Yes.
Yeah, we're crime. Remember that.
Yeah, we're crumb. And all the Ghanaians that are not just in Ghana that are listening, but in other parts of the world. 64 years we're out of British colonialism. Glory to God for that. And we got our freedom. First black country. Well, first African. Yeah, first
sub-Saharan colonial country to have our independence. It's a big thing. It's a very big thing.
It's a very, very big thing, yeah. You don't know.
Yes.
I don't know what to say in the midst of any of this. So
but yeah, don't forget, guys, to subscribe to us on YouTube. Trying to get to 100 subscribers. Tell a friend to tell a friend. If you're already subscribed, you can tell someone to subscribe, and we're trying to get to at least 100 subscribers. So follow us on our socials as well. Follow New Nature Clo, which is our clothing line. You can find us on Instagram. Anything else, guys?
not at all.
No. Then I will say. Make sure you leave a review on Apple Podcast. There's actually a person on the pod right now that hasn't done that, but it's okay. Spotify as well. And wherever you listen to us. Wherever you listen to us. With that, I'll say peace.
Love.
Love. Sorry, I didn't know whether to say on.
And heady one.
Wow.
Kidding. Patience.
Okay. And all them things
there.
Bye, guys.